Hey everybody, how's it going? Troy Marsh here with Marsh Home Group for my November 2022 market update. So thanks so much for jumping on. Let's go ahead and jump right in here. So how's the market compared to last year? Well, if we look at last October here, which is our most recent complete set of data, we are about 900 or so listings higher. You can see the new listings and pendings were about the same. If we look over here, we see that the solds have fallen, which we'll see on the next slide. But one interesting thing that we're going to continue to watch is that although the solds have fallen, so have the new listings. And it's not very often that we see fewer new listings than we have currently in contract. And when that happens, that means typically that the market is absorbing almost all the new listings that are coming on the market. Now, as you can see, the gap between the new listings and the solds is widening a little bit. Still very far from even a balanced market, very far from a buyer's market. However, it is widening a little bit. If we look at the stats, which October is the latest month that we have stats for, you can see here that the closed sales are down almost 25%. This is market wide. The in contracts down 26%. So that's kind of what we would call a leading indicator, forward looking. So we would anticipate that probably December and rolling into January sales are going to be down a similar amount. So that is significant. But if we kind of move down the list here to the new listings, you see those are down by 16%. So there's really only about an 8 to 10% difference from last year in terms of the added inventory in the market. So still definitely a slower market than we were in a few months ago, but certainly not a strong buyer's market. And that's most indicated here by the months of supply of inventory. So again, we've been talking about this for a few months, but we see a 40% increase, but that only computes to a little under a half a month of additional inventory actually on the market. So we have still a long ways to go before we get to 4 to 6 months of inventory, which is what we consider a buyer's market. I thought this was interesting, and I'm going to start to pull this. And the reason for this is these numbers that we talk about all the time really often focus on the overall market, which I think is good because it provides a good sample size. It's kind of a more health of the market. But we can kind of zoom into these specific school districts. I went ahead and sorted by the communities that have the highest to the lowest median increase or decrease in price. Now, again, the thing I don't like about these is that you can see that in some districts there are small amounts of homes that sell each month. And so if you have one or two homes that sold either last October or this October, it can pretty drastically impact the median, especially impact the average here. But you can see from a median perspective, Granville's leading the pack with a 51% increase in the median sales price. New Albany's right up there. Jonathan Alder and Plain City also up towards the top of the list. Some of the larger suburbs we see are New Albany, Dublin, the Short North area, Grandview, and actually even Powell, about twice as high as the average in the entire Columbus MLS. Some of the lower price places, most of them are rural, but German Village actually has seen one of the larger declines actually in pricing compared to last year at this time. Bexley also saw a slight decline, and then Delaware even saw a slight decline, which that was a surprising number to me, and we'll keep looking at the trends on that. We can see for the most part, though, most of the kind of around the outer belt suburbs of Worthington, Pickerington, Upper Arlington, even Columbus coming in here at a 9% increase, 6.4% median over last October. So still seeing pretty healthy gains in terms of folks' equity. And this was one thing I really wanted to talk about in a major way here this month, and that is Intel's impact on our market. So there's been several articles written, most recently last week, about Intel's impact on our market, and essentially the fact that we're extremely underbuilt. Really, since 2008, we've been building too few homes for the increase in population, and the fact that Intel is bringing in so many jobs. I've seen reports that say for every one job that Intel creates in the past, in their last time that they built a factory out in Arizona, in Chandler, Arizona, look it up if you're interested, they saw for every one job that Intel brought in, that 13 additional jobs were created. So these initial 3,000 jobs that they're bringing in for this first phase of the first two factories could potentially create up to 39,000 additional jobs, which is a pretty significant impact. If you multiply that or extrapolate that out to the three other phases of this project that were planned at the beginning, that could be well over 100,000 new jobs just from that. And that project is the largest project that we've ever seen here in Central Ohio, as well as the whole state of Ohio. The second largest is the one that was announced just a couple weeks ago, and that is that Honda is building their North American battery supply plant, which is going to supply all of the car batteries for Honda in North America, right here in Central Ohio as well, close to that Washington Courthouse, Jeffersonville area off of 71, for those of you that are familiar. So kind of the opposite side of town, closer to Cincinnati and Dayton. But definitely these projects are going to be putting a further strain on our inventory. And in particular, this article written last week by the AP talked about the impact on affordable housing. So there'll be more to come with that here as the months go by. I would say the biggest piece of news since we talked last is definitely interest rates. So you can see last January, we'd all love to go back to those just above 3%. But you can see just a couple weeks ago, we saw a nice little drop here. If we move on to the next slide, we saw that rates dropped a little over 0.5%, about 0.6% on average. Here in Central Ohio, where actually most of the lenders are quoting something in the 6 to 6.25, or maybe 6 3/8%. So definitely rates have improved quite a bit off of the high of just a couple weeks ago. So what does all this mean? Again, last month, thanks to Evan, I put this in here, and hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Available homes, I still think that adding a little bit of inventory to the market is good, but we also haven't added so much inventory that we can't sell homes that are on the market. So for that reason, I think we're in pretty good shape. So I gave it a green hockey stick. For the sold homes, obviously with inventory dropping a little over 25%, or I'm sorry, not inventory, but sold homes dropping a little over 25% compared to October of last year. I think we're definitely seeing some declines in demand due to those interest rates, and so I'm going to give that the double hockey stick there. Same with new listings. I still really believe until we see a pretty healthy increase in new listings, we're going to continue to see tight inventory, which still makes it a tough market out there to be a buyer. Interest rates still not great, but I would say the interest rates are definitely trending towards being green for sure. Being that they're still twice as much as they were last year, I left it as red, but I definitely think they're trending in the right direction, and we've seen nationally an increase in the number of applications, so that's good. And then last but not least, average sales price. We also looked at median sales price. In most markets here in Central Ohio, things are looking much better than they were even 1 year ago. And for those of you that have owned your home for 2, 3, 4 years or more, you've seen some massive increases in your prices, and could still, by selling today, have a really large chunk of equity to either transfer to your next home or do something else with, like invest in real estate. So I appreciate you guys jumping on and listening to this. For those of you that stuck it out this long, I appreciate that as well, and looking forward to talking to you next month. I hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving, And please let us know if there's anything at all that we can do to help. Have a great day.